Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only thing I'm a little bit worried is that the sound is really low on my side, but
You mean my sound or yours?
I think it's mine generally speaking, but
I
I can still hear you, so I'll just have to be very concentrated whenever.
okay. And I can hear you very well from my
Okay.
side.
Okay, good, good. Well, that's the most important thing, yes. Okay, let me try to share my screen.
Mhm.
Where is it? Boop, boop, boop. Where is the button? Oh, yes, maybe here. Grid view. No. Floating panel view. Where exactly is the button to share screen? Oh, here. I think I got it.
Okay.
Screen. Yeah. Share. Okay.
Yeah.
So for example, I have the presentation here. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. Then if I open, for example, a survey.
Uh-huh.
Can you also see it?
Yes.
Okay. Then it
Um,
seems to be okay, right?
yeah.
Okay, great.
I
Great.
haven't got a chance to send out email for the files, all the forms you sent to me before.
Mhm.
But I already create a Google documents. And I think I will just share the link with, by the chatting function here.
Mhm.
Briefly walk them through how to download them, and can play with that when you present that.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sure.
It's great.
I was afraid because so I work on both Mac and a PC, and
Mhm.
actually the macros only work on PC. And my PC last time, I don't know if you remember, it didn't WebEx didn't work on it, so I was really scared about it.
Yeah,
But it seems to be
me
okay.
too. I always have some problem when using WebEx. I don't know why. So yesterday on my computer, and today I'm using my Mac as well. I'm using the web version, so it works well. So it's
Okay. Ah, that's good. Okay, good to know.
mm,
Yeah. Okay, so would you like to? So Anastasia will join us later on. Um,
mhm.
Mainly for the feedback and question and answers and experiences from the field. She already knows the tool because she was the one putting in place. But yeah, I think
Okay.
we're
So
pretty
so so you
ready.
mean that she will join later?
Yes, yes, she has the
Okay.
link, so she will join at some point.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Abeg, go on and keep quiet small. I dey do serious.
So do you want to quickly introduce in the beginning and then I take over, or?
Yeah. So how about I introduce you, and your team and what you do, and this what our this presentation is about, and I just will go to your side.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, okay, see your stomach. Oh boy. Come see as we dey do our meeting. Everybody for every country. But you no go dey see them. You go dey see them now, come see them. They will come see me now. Wetin go happen? I don off my camera.
I'm trying to find a way to.
No, for now, let's join it. Next time, okay.
Claudia, can you switch me as the host again? I will try to how to like control the mute for everyone.
Sure. So the mute is so you have it on.
No, only the host can mute control the mute for everyone. I just can control
Sure. Is there an echo?
It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, you want to vomit. It's okay. Mama. What? You hit your leg now. I'll tell you. I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about. If you want to that thing. I'll go there. You reach out and have my question. It's okay now. I want to so much.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. I put headphones because I think the echo was coming from my mic.
Great.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But could you still switch me to the host for a while?
Excuse me?
Could you switch me to the host for a while? Right now you are the host for the webinar.
I think I made you the host, but yeah, okay,
Let me check.
oh, it's about the presenter. Okay, I can make myself a presenter and I will yes, done.
I can hear some noise from your side.
Do you still have an echo?
Yeah, no, that's better.
Okay. So I put my headphones and I muted everybody that I could.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Claudia.
Hello.
Caroline is here.
Oh, hello. Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Very good. Thank you.
I see there are other people, many other people. Right?
Yeah.
I think we also have Bangladesh with us. I received a message from Tarek.
But yeah, I still can hear some noise from your. I don't know whether that's from headphone or something.
Oh, okay. Let me mute myself.
But your voice is great.
Do you want to do the introduction?
Oh, I just said I will briefly introduce Claudia. And if you can jump in to introduce what that's about, and we then switch to her.
Okay. Well, it'll be good for you to, introduce.
Uh-huh.
So we can,
Everyone, good morning and maybe good afternoon for some of you. This is Heqian Kwang from headquarters in Geneva. I'm the Associate Nutrition and Food Security Officer here. And I have Caroline with me. Maybe Caroline can make an introduction to yourself.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see. It's great to see so many people online. I see Kenya as a whole delegation when I look at the video. So well done, and I'm really happy to see so many people online. As you know, we're working towards revising the SENS guidelines and working towards a version 3. Now, the version 3 will take into consideration various changes internationally and also some modifications based on research. One of the objectives for us as well is to try and make things as simple as possible, but with the aim of maintaining a robust quality survey. So this standardization test and the webinar that we're going to do now really falls into that objective, having the most robust surveys that we can, but simplifying things as much as possible for all of you, for the survey coordinators and for the people that are. So I've got a whole lot of people to thank. I mean, Claudia and our partner KPMG have been amazing in developing this. And Fanny, who's also online, has been very instrumental in developing it along with KPMG and testing it and making sure that things work. CDC have also been involved in previous iterations of it. I'm sure there are many people I've forgotten, but I would like to thank everyone that's been involved in the process. And now I will stop talking. I'll hand over to Claudia, who will walk us through this simplified tool for the standardization tests. Claudia.
And one more thing to mention is that I just sent out a Google Drive link, which have all the forms we are going to use for the standardization test, the importing data function. And if you are able to access to that, you are more than welcome to play with those forms at the same time when Claudia is introducing all of them. And again, just Claudia is the technical specialist who built up the fantastic tool for us. She's from KPMG, and we will hand over to her to give the presentation. Thank you for joining us.
So hello everybody, my name is Claudia.
I'm from Cartonji, as I've already been presented. I'm happy to have all of you on board. Thank you very much, Caroline and Hekwan. So welcome to today's webinar. I will start sharing my screen. So if if somebody cannot see it, feel free to either ping us and tell us that that's not the case, or write a message through the chat, and we will make sure that everybody can see it. Okay, let me quickly share my screen. So I have a little presentation that I have prepared for today that will guide us throughout the whole webinar. And I'll be using this as a guideline, and then we will go through the different tools and we'll demonstrate on how it works, etc. And those tools you can find them on the Google Drive that has been shared with you. Okay, let me just do the chat in case anybody would have a request. So we have, in order not to have an echo, we have muted all of you. But of course, if you have any questions or anything that is unclear, feel free to to jump in at any time and ask us any questions that you might have. So welcome to today's training webinar. So the agenda for today's 2 hours webinar is we will first provide you a quick introduction to the standardization test. Then we will look into the SENS B3 standardization test form, the questionnaire that is used to collect the data for the standardization test. Then we will further look into how to collect and upload data to ENA by using both an online server, Kobo Toolbox, and an offline one, Aggregate. And then we will finish by a discussion where we will be able to discuss field experience sharing and any question and answers that remaining ones that you might have after today's webinar and about the standardization test in general. Yeah, okay. Okay, now just a quick introduction. What are the objectives of this standardization test? There are 2 main objectives. The first one is to assess how consistent and accurate measurements are within individual measures and between measures. So we will further look into what this consistency and accuracy means, and also to better understand the challenges in taking measurements. And of course, practice is key to success. It's also a way to practice and see how things go during the standardization test. How does this work? Well, you have several children to measure. Usually it's up to 10. Here in this example, we have up to 5 because we're not able to put on one slide 10, but usually it's 10. And for each one of the child, team 1, for example, in this case, will measure the MUAC weight and height, and then they would go to child 2, measure MUAC weight, height, and so on until they measure all 10 children. And after that, they would repeat this and do again child 1, child 2, child 3, and the same exact measurements. And of course, we'll have several teams, so this will be the same for each team. Now, this works as in circles, actually. So you would have one child, and then team 1 will come and measure child 1, then team 2 will follow up, then team 3, then team 4, team 5, team 6, etc., etc. And this will happen twice, per child and per team. Now, what do we do with the results from these standardization tests? So first of all, a supervisor, which is usually a trainer, but it depends, will first measure each child and will enter the data on the smartphone and tablets. And this will be our benchmark. This will be the measurements to which we measure, we compare other measurements from the measures. Then in ENA, the results from each team or measure, depending on how you organize it, will be compared in order to show, first of all, the accuracy of the results, as we were saying before, meaning how close to the supervisor's measurements are those of the team or the measurer, meaning how correct are they, and also consistency of the results, which basically means how close to each other the team's measures results are from session 1 to session 2, and this for each child. So we look first of all how correct the results are and how consistent, meaning how close to each other from session 1 to session 2, the measurements of the same person or team is. Now, along with the SENS version 3, we have built up the standardization test toolbox that basically has 2 tools in 2 languages, in both English and French. The first one is what we call the standardization test survey, and this one is in the Google Drive that has been sent to you. And this is the questionnaire that is customizable according to your context. For example, the name of the measures or the teams, etc., that you can customize. And the second component is what we call a standardization test tool, which will be used to actually input the data and the survey that you have used to collect this data into it. And then you'll have the results of this data collection, the standardization test data collection, in ENA format for you to be able to analyze it. Does anybody have any question? Everything is okay? So feel free to ping us anytime. If there's anything you don't hear us, you lose us, or feel free to let us know. Okay. So now let's have a look at the first component of the toolbox, which is the standardization test survey. So it is an XLS form that has several tabs. Whenever you open it, it usually arrives to the introduction tab, and then you have the survey choices and settings tabs that are in an XLS form. And this is how it looks like. So you have 4 tabs: introduction, survey, choices, and settings. Now, you have inside this tool, so this is the first one you will be using. This is you first customize your survey in order to deploy it on your server, either Kobo Toolbox or Aggregate, in order to collect the data, and then you will be taking this survey plus the data that it will be putting into the tool to further analyze it. So you have those 4 tabs here. And inside this survey, the standardization test survey, you also have instructions on how to customize your survey. So those are pretty straightforward. It explains you what those tabs are, first of all. So the orange tab is the one with instructions as to how the form works and how to adapt it to a local context. And then you have the 3 green tabs that are the ones with the content of the form, meaning survey, choices, and settings. Then, in order to customize your survey, there are 2 main rules to be followed. The first one is that all the cells that are in black should not be modified, because otherwise you will not be able to analyze the data by using the tool further on. And all the cells in red can be adapted to your context, and you'll see why this is the case. Also, in each one of the tabs, meaning survey, choices, and settings, you'll find a column called how to modify the XLS form in English or French, if you use the tool in French, providing instructions on how to modify each one of the modifiable aspects. And in this form, the number of enumerators is at 12, plus 1 supervisor. However, this might not be the case on your side. You might need more or less enumerators, so it tells you to feel free and modify that. Just a quick glance at those 3 tabs. So this is the survey one. As you can see, we have aspects that are in black, aspects that are in red, and this how to modify the XLS form column in both English and French that you don't see here, with instructions as to how to adapt it. This is the choices one. As you can see, the measure, the names. This is something that in any case you'll probably need to adapt it. So it is in red, and some other aspects are in black. and the setting tab that you can also adapt according to your needs.
What is that?
Okay, so right now I'll provide you a quick demonstration as to how to adapt the survey itself. So in the Google Drive that has been shared with you, you have the test data, the survey, and the tool, version 3.1, 3.1. We will open the survey, and you arrive at this right here. So as we were saying before, you have those 4 tabs. First, the introduction, and then the 3 tabs for the XLS form. So this is an XLS form with instructions format. As I was saying, the tool is in languages, in both English and French. Oh, great, thank you. So it is by default when you open it in English, and if you need it in French, you can just choose in French, and all the instructions and everything opens up in French. Now, in the survey and choices tab, as this is an XLS form, it will not change. It will remain the same. You just have a column for English and a column for French. And it is the same for survey choices and settings. However, the instructions are going to be in French. Okay, let's put it back in English. So as I was saying, this is exactly what we were discussing before, about the instructions. Would it be possible to mute yourself, please? Even though I love the bird sound behind. Okay. Hakon, would it be possible to mute, please?
Maybe wait if this one has accepted.
Okay, well, let's continue. So we have the same instructions as we were looking into. So all cells in black should not be modified. All cells in red can be adapted to a context. So I open my survey tab and look here. Okay, I have it in both English and French. Let's assume I don't want it in French. So I can, well, I can keep it. I can delete the French columns or I can keep them. However, everything is in black except the child's MUAC in millimeters. So, okay, I look here. What's this? Okay, decimal. Okay, I can see there is a constraint. And MUAC should be between 7.4 centimeters and 23.5 centimeters, or between 74 millimeters and 235 millimeters. And then I have a little instruction here. If the tapes are in centimeters and not millimeters, adapt text in label column C14 or D14 and replace this by this in the constraint column. Okay, so let's assume it's in centimeters. So now I adapt the text. I say in centimeters. Okay, and the constraint is here. So I want to put this here instead. As the instruction is telling me, I will paste this here. And I will also adapt the instruction. So I put centimeters everywhere. And now I'm happy with it. So I have adapted it to according to my context as I want to have it in centimeters. If I want to keep it in millimeters, I just keep it this way. I keep the constraint here as it was before, and I just delete here in the constraint message the part with the centimeters and keep only the one with millimeters. So now that I'm happy with it, I just put it in black as I prefer to have it this way, but I mean, it doesn't make a difference. And that's all. I've adapted the questions, and all the other things are in black, so I should keep them this way and not modify them. Now, let's look at choices. What do we have here? Okay, so we have session 1, 2. Okay, we always have 2 sessions, so that's fine. And then measure. Okay, I have by default names here in maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the child numbers are in black. Okay, so let's assume that the first one, I don't want it to be animator 1. I want to have my own name, so I put Claudia. Here, Claudia, Claudia, and here I put Claudia. As I have the instructions here, it tells me how to do it. Okay, so no spaces here in the column name, always. Otherwise, XLS form will not be recognized as an XLS form. It will not work. And yeah, and I have all the instructions here. So if I want to have my family name as well, okay, I put it here, and here will be no spaces. If I put this will not work. Sorry. So I will put under, or just together like this. Claudia Victoria or underscore. I don't know exactly where it is. Yeah, here. Okay. So let's assume I have customized this, and then the settings. Here I can give it a name, and form title, and form ID as well, and then the version is 3 in English. But if for example, I have both English and French, and I want the survey to open up in French by default, I would write French here, and then all the other things can be kept as they are. And you have, of course, always the instructions in both English and French as to how to modify it. So this is a survey. We have made it as straightforward as possible, as simple as possible, with as instructions that are as exhaustive as possible. Do you have any questions, or is this okay? Or okay. So if everything is clear, somebody has a question. I saw somebody raising their hands.
If you have questions, you are welcome to just speak up or raise your hand or type in the chat box so I can speak for you.
I think Grace has raised a hand. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask us the question, or even write in the chat. One other aspect. So this is an XLS form. So if you're using Kobo Toolbox, you will just have to upload this XLS form once you have customized it to the server, to Kobo Toolbox. However, for aggregate, of course, you'll have to convert it to XML. Grace, is everything okay? Do you have any questions? Okay, we can come back to it afterwards if you still have a question. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. So we have demonstrated the survey. Now let's have a look at the second component in our toolbox, which is a standardization test tool. So this is how it looks like. Whenever you open it, you have, of course, the instructions tab in the very beginning, explaining to you what this is used for, and provides you a step-by-step guidance on how to use this tool. Then we have another tab called ENA formats, and then another one tab, data, called data. Now, in the instructions is the instructions on how to upload the survey and the data and then obtain the results. The ENA format is the place where results are ready for analyzing ENA when they will be obtained. And the data tab is the raw data set, in case you wish to visualize it. Now, another aspect that is not here, but you will see it once we test it with both COBOL Toolbox and Aggregate, is that when you first open this tool, you have instructions, ENA format, and data. However, once you upload your form and data set, you'll have two other tabs here that will show up, which is survey and choices. And this is to show you the survey that you have uploaded into this tool. So that in case you need to look at the data and the survey itself, you have all of them together here. So we'll see that afterwards when demonstrating. Now, let's have a look at it. We will open the tool now, the 3.1, and then we have test data and survey for Aggregate, and test data for and survey for COBOL Toolbox. Why do we have two different test data, one for Aggregate, one for COBOL? It is for the simple reason, even though they're both data sets are CSVs, the way Aggregate and the way COBOL Toolbox exports the data is not exactly the same. So you'll see that in the tool itself, you'll have two different buttons, one for Aggregate, one for COBOL. And this is why we also have two different data sets. Now, let's open the tool. So now let's assume we have customized our survey, we have deployed it to our server, then we have conducted the standardization test, and at the very end of the test, we wish to analyze the data and see how the results look like. So at that point, we will open the tool and then have a quick look at it and how it looks like. Okay, so as we were saying before, those three tabs here, first instructions, then ENA format, and then data. And we'll have two additional tabs once we have uploaded the survey and the data. The tool, as well as the survey, is in two languages as well. Everything is okay? Okay. So you can change the language of the whole tool here, from English to French. So all the instructions tab will switch to French whenever you choose it. And also, and also this tab as well, ENA format, whereas the data will remain as it's raw data, so it will not change the language. So that whenever you change the language, the instructions plus ENA format tabs will also change the language. And now let's have a look at it. So we have here a step-by-step guideline on how it works. So the first step is to adapt your XLS form. Okay, so what does it tell us? First, adapt your standardization test survey XLS form file called Global Standards Test Survey 3.1, following the instructions that are in the Instructions tab and how to modify the XLS form column in Survey Choices and Setting tabs. And just a quick reminder, all the cells in black should not be modified. All the cells in red can be adapted to your context. And also we have a quick instruction here in the Standardization Test Survey file called the number of enumerators is at 12, plus one supervisor. Should a number of enumerators be less or more, please adapt it accordingly, etc., etc. So those are instructions that are already in the survey, but we have just put them here as a reminder. So if by any chance you first open the tool before the survey, it will tell you, please go back to the form, to the questionnaire, adapt it, collect the data, and then you come back here. So this is just a quick reminder. We have already done this. Now, we go further. Yes, and Deploy your XLS form and conduct the standardization tests. You can then deploy XLS form on either Kobo Toolbox or Aggregate in order to conduct the standardization test on the smartphone, tablets, and collect the data. Okay, so we have also done this. Just a quick reminder, you have the survey itself is in XLS form, so you can customize it and deploy is to Kobo Toolbox. However, for Aggregate, as you already know, you'll have to convert it first to XML and then collect the data through Aggregate. And then we go further and we have step 3, import your survey, and it's written in XLS form. And we have a quick instruction before doing anything. It tells you in order to be able to use this tool, please make sure to first activate the macros. You can do so by clicking on activate the content after the security alert under the toolbar. Okay, so what is this? What you need to know is that both the tool and the survey have macros in it. Basically, it's Excel with macros for them to be able to work properly. And in order to make sure that they work properly, you first need to activate the macros. And I haven't activated it on purpose to show you how it looks like when you first open it, the tool. It's this thing here. So I have it in French. My apologies. My Excel is in French. However, in English, it will be activate macros, and you'll have a security alert here. Something in the content has been deactivated. Please click here for further information, and then you need to click on activate the content. Otherwise, those buttons here don't work. If you see here, if I click on them, they will not work. If I activate, then I have something else here. Okay, so that's the first thing to make it work, to make the tool work. Now, what do they tell me? Click the import survey button hereafter and import the XLS form that you used to define your survey contents. If you have used Aggregate in order to conduct the standardization test, you might be tempted to upload the XML file of your survey. Please be aware that this tool requires the XLS form format in order to work. It will not accept XML form. So we will have to click on this button here and import XLS form. For those having used Aggregate, unfortunately, you will have to keep the XLS form along with the XML format that you'll be using to collect the data, as you cannot upload the XML here. It will have to be XLS form. So and then it tells me the message, your XLS form survey has been successfully imported into the tool, will then appear confirming that your survey has been indeed imported. For the standardization tool to work, you must know what the exact content of the survey is, the list of questions that are asked, and the available choices. So let's do so. We will first, as my first import data button is for Kobo, let's first attempt to do so with the Kobo data set and survey. So let's click here on import survey, and it will open a browser in order to search for the file that it needs. So I'll go and search my test data. Okay, so I have a file called SENS webinar, test data, and then, so we said we are going to first do Kobo Toolbox, so I'm going to Kobo Toolbox. And then I have import data and import survey, and here I have to import the survey. So I will click here, and then I can either double click on it or just click on it and say OK, and it will import it. For those of you, for you actually, because all of you have a link to a Google Drive, you'll probably have to first download the survey and data and then have it on your computer. So if I double click on it, my tool will start working, and then at some point it tells me your XLS survey has been successfully imported into this tool. So I know it's here, and I say, OK, thank you. And now I have the choices and surveys tab here, in case I want to double check which one did I upload. Okay, so it's this one here. I have another type of message. For example, if by any chance there's something wrong in your XLS form, something, I don't know, has been changed meanwhile and something is wrong, it will tell you this is not an XLS form. We don't recognize the format, please try again, or something like that. It will tell you there's something wrong. If it tells you it has been successfully imported into this tool. It means it has been recognized as an XLS form and it's there. And then you have those two tabs here. Now, let's go to the next step. Import your data set. And then it tells you in CSV format. First step is to click on the reset button to clear all your previous data. If you go here to the data, you can see we have some data here. And you want to first delete whatever can be here. So I click on reset. It tells you your data have successfully been cleaned. Okay. If I go to my data tab now, nothing is there anymore. So I cleaned it. All is good. So for now I have uploaded the survey, but I don't have any data yet for the tool to match it and to be able to show me the results. Then it tells you 4.2. Next, you must obtain the CSV file with XML values and headers that contains your data from the server. You can obtain it from your Kobo Toolbox online account or from Aggregate. So it really has to be a CSV file with XML values and headers. If that's not the case, this will not work. It really has to be that format. Now you have explanations on how to download that, to obtain that data, first for Kobo Toolbox and then for Aggregate. So as we are looking into Kobo Toolbox right now, it tells you connect to your Kobo Toolbox online account. Once logged in, click on the project for the standardization tests, select the data tab, and then click on the download feature. It is very important for you to download the data in CSV and XML values and headers format as shown in the print screen below. Save this CSV file somewhere on your computer. So whenever you are on the project of a standardization test, in the data tab and under download feature, you'll have this showing up. And here, under select export type, will have to be CSV, not CSV legacy, not XLS, not just CSV. And then here, on the value and headers format, it will have to be XML values and headers. If by any chance you choose English or labels, this will not work. And then you can click on the export, and you'll have your data set being downloaded. So once you have saved it somewhere on your computer, in the correct format, etc., it tells you, then you can click on the Import Dataset Kobo button and navigate on your computer to the folder that contains your CSV data. Once uploaded, a message, your data set has been successfully imported into this tool, will appear confirming that your data has been indeed imported. Okay, so I have this button here, Import Data in Kobo. So it works as the two other buttons. I just click on it, and then it will open my computer to see what I have here. I go again to Test Data, Kobo Toolbox, and then I have Import Data Kobo file. And I can either double click on it or just choose it and then say, okay, as you wish. And I do so, it will work. You can see this here, it means it's working. And then your data have successfully been imported to this tool, it means it's here. So I can just click on OK. And if I go here to data, I can see it's here. Now, okay, what happens? So then here I have another button here, Import Data and Aggregate. And if I go down, I see there's not any other ones. It's just like general instructions on how to obtain data in ENA format. So I suggest that we first look into how to do this for Aggregate. And then we follow up with step 5 and the following ones, if that's okay for you. So now imagine that you have collected the data through Aggregate. So step 1 and 2 are common. It's the same as for both Kobo Toolbox and Aggregate. And now at step 3, this is where we will make the difference. It will be step 3 and step 4 that is different for Kobo Toolbox and Aggregate. Now, import your survey in XLS form. It's the same. And it tells you if you have used Aggregate in order to conduct the standardization test, blah, 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 you need to have the XLS form and not the XML. So you will have to have your XLS form saved somewhere on the computer, and you can just click here again, import survey. This button is for both Global Toolbox and Aggregate. It doesn't make any difference as it is the same format. So I click here, and instead of having COBOL, I'll go to the Aggregate test data and import survey aggregate. So you don't have a delete survey type of button. You can just replace the old survey by the new one, and that's fine. Now it tells me your XLS survey has been successfully imported into this tool. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Then I go down here. Again, I need to first clean the old data just to make sure. So I'll click on Reset. Your data have successfully been cleaned. Okay, so if I go to data, nothing is there, but I have my aggregate survey. And then it tells me, okay, you click on Reset, then you must obtain the CSV file. I go to the aggregate one. It tells me connect to your aggregate account. Once logged in, go to the Submissions tab, select the project, sorry, for the standardization test, and then click on the export feature. Download the data in CSV format as shown in the print screen below, and save this file somewhere on your computer. So here you just have to say CSV file. You don't need to say XML values and headers, just CSV file. And then once you have saved it on your computer and it's the correct format, you can click on Import Dataset Aggregate button and navigate on your computer to the folder that contains your CSV. Once uploaded, it's the same as COBOL Toolbox. Basically, it will tell you it's okay, it's done, and you'll see your data. So I'll click on Import Data Set Aggregate. I go to Test Data and Test Aggregate Data and Import Data Aggregate. Make sure you name your surveys and data sets in a meaningful way for you to be able to easily find it and know which one is what, etc. So if you have both aggregate and COBOL, just write the aggregate and COBOL to make sure you know which one is what. But yeah, just make sure of that. So it tells me your data have successfully been imported into this tool. Okay. And then I look into data. Okay, it's here. Great. So now I have both my survey informing me which questions I have used to collect the data, and then the data set in either COBOL or aggregate, which has slightly different formats, to match my survey. And then at this stage, the tool will know exactly what to do. Okay, so now obtain your data in ENA format. So that's the aim of this exercise, because you have to copy paste the data from here into your ENA software for you to be able to have the analysis and the result and etc. So how do I do this? Your data will then be provided in the ENA format tab. Okay, so this tab here, the tab will display data for 20 animators at a time. Thus, according to your number of animators, you will have to adapt as follows. So why this thresholds of 20 animators? ENA software has this threshold of 20 animators. So this tool has been calibrated on that. So this is why you can only display 20 animators at a time. So sometimes you might need to do some bigger standardization test exercises where you have, I don't know, 25 up to 30 animators. Keep in mind that is in this ENA format tab, you can only enter 20 at a time. And you have to do some adaptations here in this tab in order to inform it how many animators you have and how many you want to display it, etc., etc. So here we have two different cases. We have 1 to 20 animators in the standardization test. So whether you have 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, you will go into this case. And if you have more than 20, so let's say 21 to 40, we haven't looked into more than 40 as we have assumed maybe it's starting to be quite a lot. So the maximum here sustained here by the tool is 40 animators at a time. But if you have 21, 25, 30, 40, it will go into this case here. So in this data set, if we go to the choices, you'll see we have 12. We have animators 12 plus the supervisor. So we have up to 13 animators. Now, so it will be this case here. So it tells me 1 to 20 animators in the standardization test. Go to ENA format tab, select set 1, and introduce the number of animators in set 1 under number of animators in first set up to 20. The data will then be displayed for all the animators in set 1. And then it shows you here what are we talking about. So let's do what it says. We go to ENA format. So once we open it, we have this here. And as it was telling us, we have set 1, extra set 2. Here we only have one set, as we have up to 20. So we choose set 1, and then the number of animators in the first set is up to, actually it's 12, it's not 13. So let's just enter 12, manually enter the number 12. And the ENA format tab will know that it needs to display results for the supervisor plus 12 other animators. And if we go down here, so in this case, we have here we have the child number or ID, and here we have 10 children, and then here we have results, weight 1, weight 2, height 1, height 2, MIAC 1, MIAC 2. So this is, oh, sorry. So the 1 is session 1, and then 2 is the remeasurement, session 2. And you have this for the supervisor plus the 12 other animators. So if you go here, you have all the results, unless you have some missing data. If there's a missing data, it will just be blank. But if there's data here, you'll see it. There was a missing data I did on purpose somewhere, but I cannot see it. There's just one of it. But in any case, it will be blank if something is missing. Otherwise, everything is displayed here. Ah, it's here, right here and here. Okay, if for example I do a mistake, I forget there, I don't know, 12 of them, and I think there are 12 animators. If I write 10 here and I have up to 12, my tool will normally only display up to 10 and then stop. So even though I have animator 11 and 12, they're not displayed here. So it only stops at 10. If by any reason I want to include animator 11 and 12, this is how I would do it. And here you have, so it's not very obvious as we have pretty standard names here in the choices tab. But if you put the real names, for example, I put Claudia Grigore in the survey that I wanted to customize before, I'll have here Claudia Grigore, and this is the name in the name column of the XLS form, so that you can easily see which animator has done what. And this is the ENA format. This is exactly the format that you'll need to copy from here and then paste it into ENA software. Now, let's look at the second case here in instructions. If we had 21 to 40 animators in the standardization tests, in order to have the data displayed for the first 20 animators, you go to the ENA format tab, select 1, and introduce a number of animators in set 1 under up to 20, so that will be 20. And the data will then be displayed for all the animators in set 1. And in order to have results for the remaining, for example, let's assume we have 25 animators here. In order to have the remaining 5 ones, you have to select extra set 2 and introduce the remaining numbers under the animators. So basically here, so we assume we have 25 animators. So we could put the first 20, as this is the maximum sustained here, in set 1. And then the remaining 5, we put them in extra set 2, and then write down 5. Sorry, 20. So it means after the first 20, I want you to put everybody else in extra set 2. as here in our case, in our database, when we have up to 12 animators, this is empty. Here, everything will be empty. You just have the supervisor, which is the same for all sets, because this is the benchmark. This is what you want to compare to. If, for example, I want to split, let's assume, okay, I have 12 animators and I want to split them in groups of 2 for whatever reason. So I want to have first 6 displayed and then other 6 displayed. I will tell my tab to put the first 6 enumerators in set 1 and then display the remaining 6 ones in set 2. So if you go here, you can see you have results from enumerator 7 and then 8, 9, 10, up until 12. So this is the real name of the person. Is this okay? Do you have any questions? I'm just quickly waiting in case. So feel free to explore the tool at the same time as I'm explaining. And if you, by any chance, you have other questions up until the end of the webinar, feel free to ping us. Okay. So now that I have my data displayed in ENA format, which is exactly what I wanted, I have one last step to do in order to obtain my analysis. So transfer your data, step 6, transfer your data to ENA. To transfer your data to ENA, select all the rows and columns containing data in ENA format tab and copy them. So it's important that you don't copy, for example, this cell here. You just copy the data itself, and this neither. This is already in ENA. So whenever you copy the data, make sure you select only the data itself, not the headers. So I'm just doing it now. Okay, so it makes sense. I have 12. Okay, I made sure no headers. Then right click, copy. And then what does it tell me? And then, oh, sorry, I went quickly. Sorry. And then paste them into the first cell of ENA training section using paste data from clipboard. And the data is now available for analysis and reports. So then you have to open ENA. Okay. Go to training. And then where exactly is the nope. I don't remember where the paste to clipboard is. No, I don't need this. Maybe Hector, North Carolina. Oh, maybe this. Yeah, exactly. So I go here on the first cell, supervisor weight 1, subject 1, and then data from clipboard, and data from clipboard will be integrated. And I say, yes, that's what I want to do. And this is it. So I have up to 10 children. And then I have up to 4, 8, which one is this one? 10. Yeah, and this should be 13. Yeah. Here it is. I have it here. For all 10 children, so it's for supervisor plus all 12 animators or teams, or as you wish to conduct your standardization tests. Okay. So this is it in the instructions tab. we have followed all the steps, and now we have the data that have been collected by using mobile data collection for the standardization tool, test, sorry. And we were able to paste it in DNA format. Now, do you have any questions or any comments or anything before we go ahead?
Claudia, it's
Yes.
fine. I was just wondering, could you show us how to change the names of the numerators so we don't have numerator 1, numerator 2 to 12? But if you could show us how to change the names?
Sure, of course. So, in order to change, do you mean in the tool itself or before collecting the data? Yeah, exactly. That's my question. We wouldn't actually recommend to change the names after having collected the data. You should do so in the survey when you customize your survey. So that's this step here. In the survey itself, you would go to the Choices tab. And according to instructions that you have in the Introduction tab, here, as you can see, the enumerator names are in red, meaning in any case, we expect you to need to put real names, actually. Sorry. So you would have to go to the Choices tab in the Survey, Standardization Test Survey tool, that is here, before collecting the data. And according to those instructions, you go here and then you change the names. For example, here I had already changed Claudia Nicole. For example, here I have John Smith. I'll change it here. John Smith. And this needs to be done before starting to collect the data. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, Smith. And so on and so on.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Claudia.
Thank you. And you have instructions here. So it tells you enter the name of each enumerator taking the test here. You put the name in the column name with underscores between words and no spaces, as XLS one doesn't like spaces at all, or any other funky characters. Just you either put the words together, for example, like this, or with an underscore. Or you could do camel case, or you put camel case. Oh, sorry, John Smith. It's visual as well in case you need it. So those are 3 ways of doing so. But no spaces. For example, you can write it like this. This will not work. And sorry, and the label. The label is what will be displayed on your phone, on your tablet, whenever in the choices. In the column label, you can use any characters as wish. So here you can put spaces. You can even put brackets or anything you might need. And ensure that you have one and only one ID for supervisors measures, if applicable. For instance, for an enumerator called John Smith, you have to replace one in the name column by John Smith and enumerator 1 by John Smith. You can add and delete rows according to your number of enumerators. So if, for example, you have, let's assume you have 14 enumerators, so more than we have here, you'll have to insert new rows, 2 new ones. This, as you can see here, measure, this is the list name. It means what is the list of choices that I take my choices from. And for example, here you could write enum 13 and enum 14 in the name column, and here will be enumerator 13 and enumerator 14. You want to keep both languages, English and French. Make sure, make sure you also fill in here this information. And if you only want to have 10, for example, you'll just have to delete them for example, from 11 to 14, you can just select the rows, and right click, and then just entirely delete them and keep up to 10. Never, don't delete the supervisor. You need the supervisor in order to compare the results. So you can rename it. You can call it, for example, I'm the supervisor, you put Claudia, yeah, like this. But don't delete it. Don't select it and then right click and delete. You need the supervisor. Otherwise, ENA will not be able to compare the results. Okay. Anything else? So this is in the survey. This will be the first step. Okay. So we have finished demonstrating both the survey and the tool. Feel free to still test it as you wish and as you need. Thank you very much for your attention. And right now we propose to have a discussion. So first of all, if you have any questions and answers, we can take the time to reply to them right now. And also what we wanted to, our suggestion was to have a field experience sharing. So if you have any feedback on the standardization test and experiences you would like to share with us, feel free to do so. We invite you to do so. And thank you. I know the first one is always so you are now all muted, I believe. So feel free to unmute yourself and share with us an experience.
Hi, Claudia.
Yes.
Heqian, I'm just cutting to mention that is that possible for you to present how can we using the mobile phone on our phone or on web page to collect the information?
Sure. The only issue is I don't have an emulator installed on this computer. Okay. Yeah. So I will not be able to show how the survey looks like on a mobile phone. Okay.
Do you need time to set it up, or it's okay to start now? Because if you need time to set all the things up, we can having our field officers to share their experience first, and so that you can prepare
Sure.
things.
Sure.
Okay, great. All right. So everyone, do you have any what things want to share with your like experience before with standardization test or using mobile form or anything? And questions are also welcome to ask.
Maybe if you're still on the line, would you mind just explaining a little bit your experience of the use of this of the standardization on mobile technology, because it's fairly new. Not many of us have done it, and I know that you have used mobile data collection for standardization in the past.
Hello. Hello. Yes.
So, Scovia,
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
I can hear you.
This is we appreciate the presentation, and Actually, we are glad for this kind of presentation at the time when we are almost going to enter into the FSNA, the Food Security and Nutrition Assessment of 2019. So I believe it's going to prepare us to be better enumerators, better collectors as well. I would our session today, we missed out on a few areas because of network. Presentation, all some kind of notes that are simply, in addition to what you've shared, share some kind of notes so that we can maybe discuss at the field level some kind of notes. So I would wish if you can make me maybe add on a few notes so that we can continue to assimilate what you've been able to share today. But thank you so much, Claudia. We appreciate. We'd love to see you in Uganda, especially Southwest. Me and Scovia in Oruchinga.
My pleasure.
And I'll be happy to see you here. So my major point is about making some notes, and then we shall sit down with our team leaders, and then we try to continue to assimilate and go through what you've shared today, so that we can possibly also make more practical sessions, so that we just move out of the theory to another practical session. Probably as we prepare for the 2019 FSNA, I believe this is very useful information. Thank you, Stephen and Scovia, together.
Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah, I think there's no problem in sharing the PowerPoint. This webinar will also be recorded, so if you need to go back and look at any of the elements that Claudia has explained, the recording will be available, and we'll send you the recording of the webinar.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Claudia. I have a question. Isaac, Kampala. So, and this speaks to the general sense of V3. With the new recommendations of WHO and UNICEF, right now the scope covers up to, it also includes now 0 to 5 months. So that means 0 to 59 months. Whereas when you look at the ENA for smart software, it captures from 6 to 59. So I'm sort of wondering how these two are going to be harmonized, because now we're talking of data collection where the new recommendation includes us measuring or at least screening children that are 4 months, 3 months. I don't know, how do these two now harmonize? That's the question I have.
Claudia, I can take that question or answer that question if you like.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so Isaac, thank you very much for that question. It's something that we've given a lot of thought to. When you look at the indicators for the same it does measure from 0 to 59 months. Now, we've had discussions with the SMART group, because the SENS version 3 is still very much based on the SMART method, as you know, with a few other modules. And given the difficulty of measuring children from 0 to 5 months old, we've taken the decision in SENS version 3 to exclude the children 0 to 5 months. Now, as standard, it is possible to to include them if you really think that in your situation they need to be included. But as a standard, the SENS version 3 will take children from 6 to 59 months. Now we recognise that there is a difference between the national surveys such as MICS, the multiple indicator cluster surveys, and the DHS surveys, the demographic and health surveys. And there is a slight difference with the SDG indicators. Because we want to have accurate data and the best possible quality data, we keep it as for children 6 to 59 months old. Is that clear? Okay. Right. Thanks. Any other questions? I mean, what we hope to do is to have a series of these webinars as introductions to SENS version 3. So we do hope to have a series that goes through different modules, what's new, what's changed, how reports will be used, how the data is going to feed into different systems. So we hope that this is just the beginning, and that that'll be interesting for you in the future to have more webinars of this sort.
Any further questions?
This is Isaac again. Yeah, maybe to comment on that. Yeah, we do appreciate more frequent webinars, just like other sections within public health of here, because speaking for the case of Uganda, we do have the food security and nutrition assessments, FSNA, that's the equivalent of the SENS, a month. I mean, and so definitely we need a lot of refresh in terms of the body of knowledge, and given that these assessments sometimes you need to be on top. Yeah, so yeah, definitely we appreciate the initiative that we can use a bit more often.
Great, thanks, Isaac. I mean, that is our intention, to try and share as much information with you as possible without overloading you as well, because we know that you're all very, very busy on the field.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Terry from South Sudan. Just wanted to say thank you so much for holding the webinar. Our line was a bit temperamental, but as we are going to have the recording, I guess as a team, we'll just go through the material once again. And yeah, we hope that we can utilize this in our upcoming SENS surveys in the last quarter of the year. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Terry. Claudia, do you think we can show the mobile data collection, or?
Yes. And Dorothy just said that her colleague from Ethiopia will share their experience with a mobile phone later, maybe after your presentation on that first. Thank you, Claudia. Any questions? How about Dorothy? Dorothy, can you hear us? Okay. Dorothy, is that possible for you and your colleagues to share your comments on the COBOL? Um, Another point by Atel mentioned about the assignments for using this tool. We can upload another sample data onto the Google Drive I shared before, so that you can play with that, entering data from your mobile phone, import the data into the Excel, and just to check that whether that come up with the same result as our sample one, to see which point you may face problem, and you are more than welcome to email us if you met some problem during the exercise.
I think, Etel, thank you very much for that suggestion. The last assignments were quite complicated with the coding and changing the XLS forms, but we did have very good feedback. So I like this idea. If I could ask all of you to send us in an email the names and the emails of everybody that's participated to this this webinar, because I know, like in Kakuma, it seems like there are 10 of you. For certain other country offices, there are a few of you. So make sure that you send to Huchen, if you reply to her invitation, the names and the email addresses of the people who participated, and we can send you the information. So the PowerPoint, we can send you the Google Drive, and a short assignment. If you would like to do some practice. I mean, Etel, you suggested this, and that's what I heard as well from the team from Southwest Uganda. That using it and practicing it would be a good idea. So great. If you could make sure that you send us the names and the emails of everybody that's participated. Jen will write her email on the chat just now, so that you know where to send it, and we can follow up with you individually if necessary. We can have one last round if anyone has any comments or questions. Last round.
Good morning, everybody. This is Fanny.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi. I have maybe one comment and one question for Claudia. My comment, I'm wondering, maybe it will be good if we can add in the instruction tab of the SENS standardization tool, the instruction to set up the smartphone for the test, I mean ODK, because it's always better to hide some option in the main menu during the test. For example, edit save form or delete save form. So it would be good maybe to add the link where we can find the instruction to set up the smartphone for this exercise. Yes, because it's also maybe a complicated step for observe this tool. And my question about the unit for the MUAC measurements, I'm wondering if we have to modify maybe manually the column with the measurement for the MUAC if we use the centimeter instead of the millimeter. In the ENA software, the MUAC measurement should be entered in millimeter and not in centimeter, and I'm not sure that the rate is readable if we use the centimeter instead of millimeter. Yes. Yeah, we can keep the instruction and adapt the form and use the centimeter during the test, but after, when we copy paste the data into the ENA software, I'm not sure that it's correct to copy paste the measure in centimeters.
Hello everyone, this is Mary from Cox Bazar. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We are here with the ACF team, and we are actually in the process of planning for our survey, starting in the last week. So we would actually try this module, and just wondering about the version 3 SENS guidelines. In Cox Bazar, we are not implementing the full SENS, but then we also implement some indicators. So in terms of the other modules, is it possible for us to implement, or we need to wait for the official rollout of the version 3?
Claudia, I'll take this question as well. Is that okay?
Okay, should I repeat the question? Okay, okay, we are in the process of planning for the annual nutrition survey. We're not doing the SENS in Bazaar. And we have some modules that have been included in the survey. So we were just wondering, should we wait for version 3, or is it possible for us to include a few indicators? Like, for example, we are doing mosquito net coverage and anemia. So should we continue using the version 2, or we adopt a few, or we need to wait for the official rollout of version 3?
Mary?
Yes.
Thanks for your question. Version 3 is practically finalized. We do hope to have a rollout, like I said, in terms of and then next year to have a full training. But in the meantime, we can certainly use elements. Well, we can start using version 3. So we can be in contact together to look at which elements, which modules you want, and then we can walk you through what's new on an individual basis. So yes, you can use version 3, and let's be in touch, basically. Fanny, I don't know if you want to say anything about that. Contradiction.
About the use of SENS V3?
Yes.
No. No.
Great.
I can support, yes, if they want to use SENS V3, of course.
We're collecting data for 0 to 6 months and get the treatment support.
It is still
matches we're collecting data from those survey when they collect matches and data.
Okay. Well, if there are no further comments or questions, I would like to sincerely thank all of you for taking the time to participate. I hope you find it interesting and useful. If I can remind you to send your emails, and then we can follow up with the various tools and the PowerPoints, and and be able to follow up with you all. A massive thank you as well to Claudia for preparing this and for doing the webinar. I found it very useful, Claudia, and thank you very much for your investment in. Right. So yeah, thank you very much to all. We will keep you posted on new webinars and further opportunities to go in more depth, either in the MDC part of version 3 and the more technical part of SENS version 3. And any ideas from your side are most welcome as well. Thank you for participating, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.